Hi everybody. It is 2 o'clock on Wednesday and I have lots of fun projects for us. Just kind of waiting a moment to see if everyone finds us. I'm excited today because I'm going to show not just the Slimline celebration. I wanted to make a few cards, but they have some cool techniques that I want to share. But I'm also going to show you a ton of ideas made with some current products that have been popping up on the consultant website. I've been messaging people and asking them if it's okay to recreate or share their artwork, and almost like everybody's like, oh yeah, that's why we put it here. This is great. I'm excited to share. So today I'm going to show you 3 different cards using the Slimline Celebration stamp sets, and they can be adapted to other things. Hi Karen, hi Denise. Hello everyone. I thank you so much for watching today. I hope the lighting is okay. My lighting has been wacko today with the weather being so dark outside. So the Slimline Celebration is not for everybody. I get it, but it is in this catalog right here, and you can also find it online. And you know, they are having a like a Facebook Live event through Close to My Heart where they show you how to make some really cool things. But I gotta tell you, everything they're making is pretty fussy, and it uses everything. So there's a couple of die cuts that are $19.95 a piece, which is a great deal for a huge Slimline die. There's 4 different stamp sets, and so I want to show you real quick what you get. If you can get it all as a big bundle like I did, and I got it as a big bundle to show you. But I can honestly tell you that gnomes are not my thing, so I don't know how often I'll use the gnomes, but these are worth their weight in gold. I love them, I love them, I love them. And I've been, you know, cutting out stars like crazy. I tuck the extras in here so that when I make birthday cards and congratulation cards and scrapbook pages, I have extra pieces. The circles are my favorite. I love them both. I've been using both of them. So I'm going to show you a couple of stamps that are a couple of ideas for those, and lots of ideas online. The consultants are super busy making things using these sets. So the gnomes are really not, what's nice about the gnome set is the messages are great. Grateful, amazing, you're the best, thank you, there's no one like you. And then you have the little critters, which, you know, I love the little critters, and there's like hooray, make a wish. The cool thing about all of the messages in all of the sets is that they're interchangeable. So these use more puns, you know, like officially the best and hugs and fishes and that kind of thing. The fish are my favorite, but I love they each have like a little sign where they have like little hands, and that little sign, all the messages will fit on any of those. So they're all interchangeable. If you have one, let's say you like this thanks better than this thanks or whatever, you could interchange them on the signs. The other thing that's really nice is they gave you inside of card messages too. So you get 5 vertical and 5 horizontal, and the messages are really good, and they're made big enough to really fill a Slimline card. So I appreciate that. As someone who's always like finishing the outside of card and then I have to handwrite some note on the inside of the cards, I appreciate having that together. So anyway, we're gonna start with a fish card, okay? And it's messy, so I'm gonna start with the messy card first. I am going to use a couple of colors, Mermaid Lagoon and Faded Jeans, and I have my little stamp daubers for those. And I have a pack of the Slimline cards and envelopes. You know, Slimline cards vary a little bit in their size, but the close to my heart ones are the standard 3.5 by 8.5 size. That's kind of the size that everybody uses to fit into a bill-sized envelope, you know, like the business envelopes. So that's the size we're going to use today. So I'm just going to keep one kind of off to the side here. Okay, and then I don't think that you want to sit and watch me die cut and color lots of pieces. So I have already die cut and colored a whole bunch of little fish. I did that while I was watching TV, and I have a friend who has seahorses, so I did a whole bunch of seahorses. And can you imagine owning seahorses in your own tank? That is really something. I also did several little critters and leaves and stuff, which I will show you in just a little bit. So I have those kind of off here to the side, and I'll be using those. So that way, the only thing I have to add to it is maybe a message if I want. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is I just have a scrap piece of paper. It is 4 by about 8. It's a little smaller than my Slimline. I just had a scrap, okay? But it's big enough, it's wide enough to go across my card, and that's what I wanted. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my Mermaid Lagoon, and this is the messy part. I'm just going to rub my ink pad across, and then I'm just going to ink this up. Now, it can be really solid, it can be kind of mottled. It doesn't matter because you're making water, and water is not just a solid color, right? Water is all different colors, and so what's everybody doing now that it's cold outside? I went outside today and my neighbor guy was like, it's freezing out here. And I have all my windows open and I'm enjoying it. I was like, oh, yeah, it's really cold. I love it. This is my kind of weather. I'm like, we finally got all of our construction stuff done, and well, not everything. I think we still have to put up trim around our windows. This is the Faded Jeans, and I'm not going to use a ton of it. I just want to add some depth in certain places. It doesn't have to be, I don't want it to look splotchy. Anyway, I think we still have guttering, and Steve and I have to put trim down on around all the windows, and then we're done. I'm so happy. I'm so happy we're almost done. It's been a lot of time having lots of people in and out of our house, a lot of construction workers. Okay, we need this to dry. This is our messy part, and that needs to dry a bit. So while with that dries, let's go on to another card. Okay, I'm going to set this aside just for a moment, and I want to work on a card using the little critter animals. So let me I'm going to move that out of the way because we don't need it anymore. So here's the thing about that big circle thin cut. You can cut it out and apply it to a piece of paper, or So like I cut it out here out of that copper ore, which is so pretty. Hi, Noelle. And I also cut it, so here's the piece I cut out of here. And then all the little tiny pieces inside, you can save them and pop them into a different one if you want. The other thing I did was I cut this onto, I also cut it out of a piece of brown because I want to inlay this copper onto the brown and make like a fall kind of thing. So I'm going to put this copper in my pile of scraps. Now, one thing that you can do is you can make a peekaboo card. And so what I did was, let me just kind of move some of my stuff over here. It's interesting how I have such a big table but I never have enough room. So I have a Cuttlebug. So here's my Cuttlebug sandwich. And I can take that big circle die and I can wrap my card base around here like this, and then I can cut out right out of the base of my card, okay, and run that through my machine. Okay, sorry, all my stuff is so dirty, and just run that through, and then when it's done, it comes out and this is what it looks like. So you may have to like kind of do your edge a little bit because it stretches out your edge a little, as you can see. But basically what I've done is I've added a window. So I can attach this to the front of my card like this, glue down the brown, and then I can attach my little animals. Now, the little animals I have, as I told you, I've cut some of them out and colored them, right? But you can, if you're not into this coloring thing, and I'm not always into the coloring thing, you could cut your animals out of, like this is cut out of toffee paper and just brown ink. This is cut out of papaya using paprika or papaya ink, and see how they look fine. They look totally fine that way. Without having to color anything, and they look just as cute if you put them on as if you colored them in. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that as an option because not everybody is into the whole coloring gig. Now when you do this, you have to realize that this piece is very loose, and so when you adhere everything, it's kind of important that there's a couple of ways that you can make this sturdier. One way that I've done, it's fussier, but I lay it in there and flip it over upside down, and then just use a little piece of paper like this to glue, to use, or washi tape even, on the back side, just to put some adhesive on where it'll just give it a little more sturdiness. And so I'm going to show you, that's kind of what I did. Now you don't have to, and it does add a little bulk, I guess, to your piece. The main thing is you don't want it to show on the front side. Hi, Margie. I've been enjoying watching all of your live music things. They're kind of fun. I just I just am so boring. I just don't go anywhere hardly at all. I'm supposed to go to Missouri this weekend. Okay, it's like the first time I've gone anywhere for a while. So now I can adhere the whole thing on. Now I would normally just use my regular glue. Using liquid glue on something this big is fussy. I don't always do that, so you're watching me do all this boring work, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it in the long run. Okay, so we're just gonna put that on the front of our card. And you can see that it makes like a little peekaboo window. I've got it lined up with the holes on the inside. See that? Now, I've cut a piece of pattern paper. I could put the pattern paper on the back of the card and make this my card base back so that when it closes you can see through the openings. That is really cool. That's especially cool if you're going to do something like with the fish where you want the fish to peek through or something. But I'm going to do the little animals. When I adhere these little guys, I want to make sure to put the adhesive in a way that it adheres over both the brown and the copper. It'll just give it a little more stableness. So I can either do it just like I'm showing you, put this on the back, make windows, and then adhere the little critters in a way that they will kind of make this sturdier, like this. And what you see, you can kind of see when you open the card, you can see stuff through the window. Or you can just put this onto this base, right? So that the background of it sorry, I can't seem to glue and talk at the same time. Okay, try again. So that this cool paper shows through to the front. And then that will be the inside of your card. So see, it just shows through. Now, several of the consultants have saved, you know, when you run this through your die cut machine, you have this piece, that, you know, you have the inside pieces, and they just inlay, like they might cut it out of this copper paper plus this paper, and then they could have the inlays. So you could do it that way. But I just think this is a really neat combination of papers and a neat way to use little critters. I just think they're adorable. And you can use any combination of the critters that you like. I kind of like this little squirrel for holding the sign. You could have the little raccoon holding the sign or the little squirrel holding the sign. I'm just going to put it like that. And then I'll put him at the top. So I think this is cute, and you can add leaves. Like this. You can add the little acorn at his feet. I just think they're there's a lot of different things you can do. So this is just my scrap from where I cut out all the animals on Toffee. Throwing that away. So on the inside of the card, you can do lots of different things too, but those big long messages that come with this bundle are kind of perfect. And so what I did was I have a whole bunch of these cut out on cardstock like this, and then I colored in the heart using my little markers. And I thought, well, that way, no matter which message I want to use, I can just pop it in there. But I also want, it looks so like stark, so I cut a little piece of scrap of that copper and made like a little edge to my message. So I'm just gonna add that in. This message says, "We may live far apart, but you're always in my heart." It's kind of appropriate for any of my family members. It seems like lately we've been having, we live far enough away that we can't just go see each other, and we're close enough that it seems ridiculous that we're having trouble finding times to get together. Everybody's busy back in school again. Okay, so there is that first card that I wanted to show you, with where you can make the circles into peekaboos, or you can just put a piece of paper behind it and have it show through. I think that ends up looking really, really neat. So I'm going to put that real close up so that you can see what I did. You're gonna see, if you watch the Slimline celebration, you're gonna see close to my heart doing something very similar to this. I just think this didn't take me very long, other than the coloring. Honestly, the coloring is probably the most time-consuming thing, and if you're not into that, you just put it on colored cardstock. All right, so there's that one. Let's go back to our fish. So, one of the things that I thought would be really neat is, all right, so this is water, right? I need to trim it down so that it will fit onto my card base, okay? And it's 3.5 inches wide. So I'm gonna trim the edges of this off a little bit. Okay, so now I have a 3.5 inch wide piece. Notice it's not tall enough for my whole card, but that's okay. That's all right. Now I want this to look like water, and so I'm going to make a tear towards me, and what that does is it allows the white edge to show through. I'm gonna get my other adhesive out here. This will be a little easier. Okay, so I'm going to put this at the base of my card. So there's my first layer of water. Now I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to tuck that just under here. Just a second, I just have to lift it up closer to my face so I didn't put glue all the way to the top. And then I'm going to do one more layer. That's a little much. Okay. Like that. So when I adhere these, I am going to have what looks like waves near the top of my water. So there's that one. And then there's that one. And can you see how cool that looks? I could even do another layer if I wanted to, because I have enough blue, but I'm just gonna set that aside. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is I pulled out one of our little die cut rings, and this little die cut ring, I think is it 2 inches? A 2-inch circle. And I am going to make a little, kind of a little peekaboo window in my card. And I'm going to do that the same way with my die cut machine. Remember that you have to, like my die cut, this would be too wide to put through my machine. It hangs off my sandwich too much. So I'm gonna have to put this in place where I want it. And then I'm gonna have to put this around my plate, my cutting plate, just like that. And then I'm gonna run that through real quick. Off camera, of course, because my die cutting machine is old as the hills. The reason you want the plate inside is so you don't cut through both layers. You don't want to cut through both this layer and this layer. You just want this part popped out. And you could put it behind, but I'm not going to. All right, so there's that. Put my die cut stuff away. All right. So now I have this really cool thing, and I have all these little fish. And I can look at my different fish that I have colored and decide which one that I want showing through the window. And I think that I like the orange one showing through. So I'm going to put some glue on him. And I'm going to put that just behind the window like that. It kind of puts like a highlight, just like that. So I see the question, Stephanie, about using longer plates. Here's what I do when I'm cutting. So I have my base plate, my cutting plate, and let me just grab a piece of cardstock. This is too short, but so I put this through my machine just like this. Wherever the plates are is where it will cut. So it will cut from here to here, and then it loses its base. So I pull it out and I very carefully scooch everything on, and then do the rest, and then put it through again and do the rest. So you don't need a longer machine. It certainly helps if you have some gigantic machine, but I have never owned one. But I've had no trouble cutting these that way. So I just cut it part way, take it out, scooch the paper down, and do the rest. Okay, so then the rest, we put some seaweed at the bottom. And maybe a seahorse. You can tell I had fun kind of cutting these, because cutting and coloring, I did a ton of them, a ton, as you can tell. So notice I'm having some of them kind of hang off at the bottom, and the reason I'm doing that is so it just gives it a little dimension. It looks a little different, and I like that. And then I can always, you know, trim the bottom off like that. And then, you know, put a fish at the top. You don't want to put any fish above your waves, because that would not be natural. Not that any of these fish are natural, but you get what I'm saying, right? So you can put different little fish in there. Whatever, you know, whatever you want to do. You can color them whatever color. You can do whatever you want. And then I just think that's adorable, and I love the little seahorses. I would probably take one of the cool messages, thinking of you, or hugs and fishes, and just put it right there at the top. The other thing that I didn't show you that I thought was a cool idea, since we do have distress inks here, and it's too late now, I could totally ruin my card doing this, but I'm gonna show you anyway. But I just have a cup of water and a brush, and if you spatter water onto your distress, what happens, I'm gonna undo it on the non-distress part, but what happens is you get like little bubbles. Do you see how those little bubbles show up from the water splashes? So it kind of looks like, so as it dries, it's like the ink kind of changes, reacts, and makes the fish look like they're bubbling. And then the other thing you can do, of course, is take like a white pen, and you could even draw around a few bubbles, like this, right? That's just a fun thing. Just a fun thing, just a little tricky thing with distress inks that you can do to make the card really neat. So there's card number 2. I could go ahead and put on my message, but I'm going to hold off on the messages for right now. Moose. He hears a voice outside. There's somebody. I have my windows open so he can hear everybody and everything. Okay. Third card. Now I'm going to use the gnomes. Now, like I said, the gnomes are not necessarily my favorite, but I made this card that I love. I used the distress inks on the background to make, just like I did the water, same colors even, only I made it sky. And then at the bottom, I made the green, and I stamped some of the grass along the edge. And then I had a whole bunch of images that I had colored and cut, and I thought that was cute. Now, I don't know if you can see it. It's hard upright, but or flat. But that little gnome right here, she swings back and forth, and I made her movable. And I got the idea because Spellbinders came out with a die of a little girl that was shopping, and she had legs that swung back and forth, and this reminded me of those legs. And I'll show you how I did that. And you might notice, do you remember the Stamp of the Month set that had all of the trees and things like that? I cut at that piece that I made during a past live. I cut the trees out, and then I used the tree as the branches here. So if you have that Stamp of the Month, you automatically have some trees that you can use. I thought that was really cute. And so I wanted to show you how to make this mechanism. And so I thought we'd just make the tree, okay? So the first thing is you need a card base. Let me grab a regular. Rather than using a Slimline today, we'll just use a regular card base, okay? All right. And I want to use, it's a little hard to see how I use this, but I used it like this. So this would be your trunk, and then these would be the branches sticking out. It's a little different to think about it that way, but let me just fussy cut it a little bit. You guys are gonna sit here and watch me fussy cut. And then I decided I'm going to show you some coloring too, so because it doesn't take very long to color these, but so basically I'm just cutting this out, and obviously a rough cut. I'm not doing anything all perfect because I just don't think it matters. I don't think it shows. And when you're making cards, if I was doing a scrapbook page that would be like there for forever and ever and ever, I would consider doing a little more work on this fussy cutting. But when I'm making a card for somebody, I just don't think they notice that kind of detail. Right? Okay. And then I had the little gnome girl that I cut out, just rough cut. And I started fussy cutting her, but I didn't finish because I want to show you. I started and I cut around her body just because I didn't think you'd want to sit and watch me fussy cut for all day. So here's what I want to do. I want to go up to the top, and then I want to make a big circle. And it will be hidden by the tree, so it does not matter how perfect it is. See? Like that. Okay? And then I have a hole punch, a little circle punch. This is an oldie. And it's a little hard to see exactly where it is, but I just want to cut a circle somewhere in the middle of there. Because what I'm going to do, instead of adhering her down, I am going to use these circle foam dots. You could use a square, but a circle just works better. So when I adhere this down to the page, I'm not going to put any adhesive on this girl. I'm just going to lay her down, and I'm going to put a foam dot in the center, and then I'm going to put the tree on the top, and then she'll be totally movable. So that's my plan. Now, the other thing I told you, I was going to force you to watch me color. Now, I wanted to show you for the tri-blend markers, I have this. This is a kind of a blank slate that you fill in as you buy the different markers, and I have them all, so that's why mine is all filled in, but it helps me figure out colors. So for example, you know, I wanted to use skin color. Here's fair skin, and then I have on here what it looks like light, medium, and dark, right? So I usually just go ahead and color in the light to start with, and I'm just doing her legs and her face and her hands, and she looks a little pale, so I can add a little shading. I can add cheeks, I can add just a little color to her, and you can see that's a rough coloring job, but that's all I did to that. And then I really like her dress to be this blue turquoise blend, and I always start with the lightest color. So there's her arms and her dress, like that. Now I could just leave it just like that. It looks totally fine. Or I can go in with a darker color, and I can add just a little bit of shading to her dress. And she looks great, right? Just like that. if I want to blend it more, I go back with my light color and go over it, and it just it makes less harsh lines, you know. I really love the, I know it sounds weird, but I like these little gnomes with orange hair, like redheads. So I use the burnt orange blend, and you could even, you know, you could make your hair any color you want. But I feel like gnomes should have more kind of, I don't know, playful, brighter colors. So I'm just making her hair like a redhead, and a little bit of blending, but not a lot, because I kind of like that sketchy look. And then I like red as, so I'm using the dark red blend. I like red on her hat. And her collar, and around her dress and her shoes. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of shading to the edges of that. You know, this is a one of those things where you can get all carried away. There are people who have totally spent tons of time doing nothing but showing how to color her swing. All right, so there's the little gnome girl colored in. And then I want to do the trees also. So I have this dull green blend, and it has light, medium, dark. And I usually just start with light, and notice I'm not doing anything too spectacular here. I am just coloring in. And then I can go back with the medium color and add like spots here and there. But it's kind of, what you'll notice is it is kind of neat to have some splotchy parts in the tree. Like, you don't, trees are not all light and they're not all dark, and so it really does kind of help, I think. Okay, so notice not coloring it in great detail. I'm just really quick. This is not fussy. The last thing I want to do is take the darker green and do where, like, the underside where the sun would not be hitting it. You might have more shade area. Do you see that I am not one of those YouTubers? I'm just not one of those people. I hope that you've received things from me that you didn't look at and go, oh my gosh, it looks like a kindergartner colored that. Although honestly, I think a kindergartner could color this, because that's what I'm doing. I'm just scribbling color on. And now this is going to be our trunk. So I have red brown, and I have red brown, and I have earth brown. Okay, and I also have some brown here that, like, if I really want to make a tree trunk, you guys are gonna think I'm crazy doing this, but I'm just gonna, like, you know how a tree trunk looks. It's just sort of wonky and uneven, and it doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're just gonna make a tree trunk, and it may need a little shading to kind of go in with your, let me see if this is a little closer. No, it's really not. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna attach my tree. Now you have to know that I would have already put some sky. I would have already put some sky up here and some grass down here with ink, okay? I'm just avoiding doing that right now because I know it takes a little time and then we have to let it dry. So I have my tree trunk. I have my tree and I'm just gonna, this is how I'm gonna end up putting it on here, like that. Let me just trim my card a little. Okay. I trimmed the edge off because I'm gonna put something here later. I've got a plan. Anyway, so here is my tree. Now, no, remember the trees were actually stamped this direction. But when you turn them sideways like this, they really do kind of look like branches, right? I think they do. Okay. And then we have our girl. Now, the problem as the girl, if we put this here, and here's our branches, and as the girl swings, the problem is this white in here shows. I'm not really sure most people will care about that white showing or even notice, but I tried coloring it with sky colored. The problem is when she swings in front of the tree, that looks weird. So you really just have to cut it out. So here I am with my X-Acto blade, and I am just cutting out that little piece of white in there. I know, I can hear you. I can hear Margie going, oh my gosh. Oh geez, I can't believe you're doing that. It's funny. It's funny. Okay, so just like that. See how it now, whatever she swings in front of, you can see through, you know, you can see through the two ropes. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Since this goes on and we need to put her piece there, we need it to fully swing. So we do not want any foam tape down here at the bottom. All of our foam tape has to be up here at the top. So let's see. I'm just gonna use a sticker here and there. And this, I know this is kind of fussy, and you may not spend this kind of time on cards, but this is so much fun. This is a fun card, and it's a fun card to get. So I want you to think about that. I'm gonna just put one more there. Okay, now let me move this. I'm making a mess as I go, just like I always do. These 3D foam dots are really nice because they are round, and these, all you need is a little one. I'm gonna pull a little one, and I'm gonna put it like here, so she'll be swinging. I don't want to put any adhesive on that circle. I want to lay the adhesive inside of that circle. Does that make sense? Like that, so that it can freely move. All right, and notice nobody's gonna see my wonky thing that I cut, so that's why it just did not matter how my cut looked. All right, now I want to make sure that I don't want any foam on my little moving piece, so that she can rock back and forth. Right? Let me make sure. I'm just peeking underneath to see where anywhere she's getting hung up. I just want to make sure I don't have any foam on there. There it is. Pardon me. I'm off camera, I know, but there. And then we have our little girl. Okay. So now she is hanging out of the tree and she's swinging back and forth, and that's what you want. And you'll notice in this one, I moved the tree up and down until I had the best view of her swinging, and then I just trimmed the tree at the top. So I could totally take this tree off and move it up or move it over or move it however I needed to. I could take my red brown, I could make this trunk wider so it looks more natural. Whatever I need to do, and then I could take a black marker and make that tree look more real. But I did not do that to this tree, and it still looks like a tree. It's not a big deal, in my opinion, to have all that detail on there, but you could put it on there if you wished. Because if you're good at drawing, the little lines and the little circle thing, you could sure do it. Kind of like this number. You know how trees have like the striations or whatever, and you could just fill in your whole tree. Okay, so there's that, and there's how I made that. I feel like I need to trim my tree a little bit. Like I'd probably trim this branch off so that you could really see her swinging. So, and then we did the fish set with the peekaboo window and the distress ink, and we did the animal set with the peekaboo window. I really think these colors are so beautiful. And the first day of fall, you got to use something orange and brown, right? Okay. The very last thing that I want to show you, and I can't wait to show you, let me turn off this weird light. There have been a million consultants posting just idea after idea, and I really want you to be able to see some of these cool ideas, and I promise not to spend a ton of time on each one, because I know that it's like, hurry up, move through. But I just wanted to show you, here's that blue with the circle, and see, they just filled in the empty holes with pieces, like a puzzle, And I thought this was cute. They put a whole bunch of nuts down in the bottom like it fell through. These are just a couple of little Halloween pouches. They used paper sacks and made little treat bags. Thought that was really cute. Here's using the little besties that are dressed up for Halloween. Let's get spooky. There's another one with the little besties. And this one's a 12 by 12 page. I thought this one was cute, using one of the Halloween gnomes and using the pumpkins as balloons. Aren't they cute? And I love the little ghost sequins in here. Here's one of the ones with fish, and they added some stickles to the fish to make it sparkly. It's a little hard to see, but I thought that one was really simple. This one's really basic. It's blue, 2 colors of blue, really, really quick. too cute to spook little card. Here is a neat use of that circles as a border on the page. Here it's cut once here and twice there, and they just scribbled with markers inside the circles. I thought that was really adorable. I thought that one was a really cool idea. Here is this one is really cute, where she used the 3-inch circles as shakers and in Spooky, so you can see that those are shaker material. Fun. I had 2 pictures of that. Here's another one. I really like this one too, using distress inks and some of the iridescent paper and coloring the little fish with the seaweed at the bottom. Super cute. I really think the fish are my favorites. This one is very, you know, I see Julie Davidson was Stampin' Up! Doing a lot of the little squares in a frame. They're really, really cute. This one is one made using the Boo Crew paper, and I thought that one was really cute. You can do your own thing with that. This is just one of the little tags recreated from the catalog. There's another Boo Crew. I promise these are not all Boo Crews. I just thought, oh, these are too cute not to share. If you're thinking about it, if you bought it, it's kind of nice to see ideas. Here's a Slimline card, super easy, splattered ink, strips of paper, and it just has one little owl and one little message. Really cute. Here's one with the stars kind of going cattywampus across the card, and with one of the long horizontal messages. Here's another Boo Crew card. These little girls are so cute. Okay, another layout. That one was fairly simple, a lot of stickers, but fairly cute. I told you that I love, love, love this autumn paper that has the trees in it, and there's a couple of cards in here that are like, whoo, adorable. I want them. I'll probably be making a few of those myself. Some of these use Cricut cuts like that and that. Another Boo Crew. Love this, you guys. This is using the Stamp of the Month this month. You know, I decided not to feature the Stamp of the Month during one of these weeks because I've had so many things I've been wanting to show you, but this is an exactly perfect example of using that Stamp of the Month on a card, using the rose gold and like copper accent and rolling the ink. Love it. Just love it. It's beautiful. Here's a few more cards using that same stamp set. This is the one, I think it's the scrapbooking one with the pumpkins. I'm trying to look and see if I have it easy to grab. I don't. And this one using the paper pack. Again, that stripy paper. There's something about that stripy paper. It's so pretty. Adding wood grain and the mix-in to the fall papers. Here's a use of those stars going across the page. This is using that baby set As You Grow, and you can see the stars here and here. And the interesting thing about the star one is when you punch out the little pieces out of the stars, you end up with whole stars that you can use like she did here. So these stars were actually punched out of this die cut. That's kind of neat. The circles don't work that way, but the stars do. Here's one, kind of, sort of, not really, similar to the one that I sent you. So many of them look a lot like the Hostess Club layouts because the papers, you know, you use all that paper. This is my favorite one ever, made by Monica Hayward, and you can see she cut out those trees out of that paper. Oh my gosh, use the wood grain behind it. Love it, love it, love it. This is a use of the gnomes that I thought was really clever. She just did like a little collage just on the side and made it into like a little flap. Those little mushrooms in there really make it pop. My upline, she decided to do the gnomes as her Christmas card, and look at that. She made the little gnomes into little elves and Santa looking images, and so those were really cute, and that is her Christmas card this year. It's a triple easel card, so it starts down flat and then each piece pops up. Here's another one using that beautiful glitter paper as a background and just putting 1-inch squares all over it in a pattern. Oops, hold on, gotta find my spot. I lost my spot. And then putting images on the front. I was gonna make this one for everyone, but I just ran out of time. So I just thought that was adorable. I love it. And look, and the other thing, look at the sequins on top of each pumpkin. Ah, cool. This is the page I made, the shaker page. Let's see. Okay, there's another one of the framed sets with the 9 little squares, like the little 3-inch squares. Lots of Boo Crew pages, and what I like about this is used the stars as a border here, used distress inks in circles patterns, and used distress inks to splotch and with the stars. And this, it was interesting to see the stars turned into a Halloween kind of theme. And then the circles done this way made it look very Halloween-y. I love it. That was neat. So there's another close-up of that. And there's another one of the circles. Cool. Look at this one with the bubbles coming out of the cauldron. I made a page kind of similar to that. Love it. I like how, look how messy this looks. This is all, you know, distress inks and just kind of, it's a smoosh technique, kind of squished on there. It's beautiful, just beautiful. And yet it's just smushed around. I mean, there's no precision to that. I love this card, you guys. Look at that. It's so pretty. They used the gold embellishing thread. So very thankful. Stamp of the month. Very nice. This was by Chris Robertson of Creative Life, and they did a whole bunch of thin cuts and Cricut cuts to make that. But I just thought, wow, you know, I'm seeing a lot of this wild berry hot pink in the Halloween stuff this year, and it just drove that home for me. It's like, there it is again. Okay, cards using PML cards as your front. Super simple, very basic, and yet really nice. I love this one with the little critter and the acorns. This one is just beautiful. I am thinking of recreating this one because I love it so much. Basically antique linen at the bottom with evergreen at the top and a little bit of black soot. She actually used regular black ink to stamp the word grateful and to stamp the images in black. It just looks like a sunset or something. Just gorgeous. Love it. And I love how she added the wood grain frame. She did good. This is a really cool one with the circles on the scrapbook page. And then I think I have a close-up somewhere, but also with these circles, added a few extra little circles of her own with things stamped. This was done by Tanya Sheridan, in case you couldn't tell. And see, adding little turtles in there and stuff. I just think it's interesting. It made it very beachy and beautiful. This is very similar to the card we just made, and I love it. It's beautiful, but the difference is, okay, like it's like, you know, I wouldn't have to cut a hole through the card to do this because they just pieced the paper back into the circles again. So you'd have to cut that die cut out in several different patterns to have it in dots and lines and, you know, something stamped and the blue paper and the plaid, and, you know, you just have to die cut it a lot of different times. You can make a lot of cards doing that. Here's another one using the stars as a background, circles as a background. I love this page using the little critter. Look at the little owl up there and the little squirrel. Super cute, and added it with other stamps that are in this catalog. And there's the stamp of the month. A lot of people are doing that variegated stamp of the month. That's just stamp rolling where you ink the top in one color and the bottom in another and stamp it down. This is called a balcony card. It's kind of a stand-up pop-up card, and they use the little critters plus the As You Grow stickers. Here's another fish card, and I thought that was really cute. They're like kissing. Aren't they cute? And just the circles and stars with a message. And on another page, there's the scribbles in a different way, but done the same way, essentially. Stars as a border. Love these little critters as a border right here. Isn't that neat? And then just little, almost like vignettes where, you know, cut it another time, but cut little pieces out so that, you know, you could make little sections in the corners. Isn't that adorable? I just think that looks amazing. There's another card, super simple. That one's really simple. They didn't fill in any holes or anything. They just put it on wood grain and kind of a gatefold using the words and the little coffee. I have the words and the little coffee. I've been wanting to show those on the live for a little while, and I haven't yet. There's the happy birthday to you. There's the little, one of the few samples I've seen using the bunny floating away with the happy birthday. Here's another, a whole bunch, but this one using the stamp of the month. Here's one where they use the bow as a thin cut and then made him into like a little Santa. There's the fish with stripes as the background. That's a great way to make a cool background. And look at the little elves. Here she is swinging where she's not movable. This is how you would use her on a stationary card. You just attach her to the card. She really looks like she's swinging. I saw another person put her on the inside of a card like she's swinging when you open the card. That was really cool. There's the animals stacked on top of each other. So you don't have to use them with the die cut. You know, it's interesting. I think they look better in a lot of ways without the die cut, and use the die cut for something else, but they look fine together. It's just that they don't have to go together. If you don't like the die cut, just get one stamp set. Look at how cute that is. This one is adorable, and this is my finale. This one is going around the scrapbook or the consultant pages a lot. Basically, it's a pop-up, so you might notice there's a little arrow here that you pull up, and when you pull up on the present, the little gnome comes out and it says Happy Holidays. So it's a slider. It goes up and down, and then see the box present lid is here, and that's just, you know, it's just a square with a ribbon, and then the little guy going up and down. So, oh, I do have a couple more. This is just with the iridescent. I showed you that one already. This one is using the Cricut Collection SVGs. Isn't that cute? Hi, Heather. I know you'll have to watch the replay on this one because I think you're going to love some of the samples I showed. I think you'll really enjoy seeing what other people have done with these stamps. I have not had a chance to play with them all that much because I've just been so busy, but I look forward to making a bunch more of these cute little swing cards. And I love this one. I just love the fall of it. And I love the little fish. I can't wait to finish that one off. Okay, I'm hoarse. It must be time to stop. I knew this one was going to be a little longer than normal. Thank you for joining me, everybody. I will see you again next week. Don't forget, this is club ordering month, so if you haven't ordered yet, I appreciate it if you do that soon. And if you are going to order in October instead of September, that's cool. Just message me. All right. Have a good afternoon. Bye.